One of the main motivating forces for preservation is, one, if you lose it, it's gone forever. Two, if you lose it, you lose our legacy and our heritage. Three, if you lose it, you lose the rich context and complexity of our society. I was a sculpture or fine arts major. I loved the idea of doing something that was giving form and texture and proportion, but would actually have some useful vitality to it. But I still had a real affection for the ability to take historic buildings and turn those into very useful buildings for the future. I was approached by Buyer Blinder Bell. I jumped at the opportunity. 42 years later, I spent the bulk of my career there. I sometimes characterize my career in project types. I've done a lot of churches, anything from St. Patrick's to St. Martin Cathedral to Church of the Heavenly Rest. A real thrill of my career has been doing historic gardens. And starting with the conservatory up at New York Botanical Garden, did a big restoration of Longwood Garden and Stonecrop Garden and Tower Grove and Wave Hill, the list goes on. And then the probably last major kind of eccentric part of my career is doing historic airport terminals. And I've had the privilege of working on the most historic building at each of the major airports in and around New York City.
Every preservation organization needs someone who has a level of expertise to help guide them. And I think in particular at the Historic House Trust and the Parks Department in particular, that is an area where there's a great need. And one of the roles that Richard really plays, he's providing that level of expertise, but he is also very much a team player, and he recognizes how architecture fits in with the larger picture of historic preservation.
I love New York City. It is such a diverse assemblage of great neighborhoods and demographics and energy and terrific historic buildings, and it's a little bit of everything. And if you can't find your way in New York, I wish you the best of luck.
What I'm struck by, both in terms of the long-term relationship with Buyer Blinder Bell, but also with Richard specifically, is the deep sense of reverence for the place itself, that where we do our work matters. That's something that I think is critically important, and Richard does as well. He was my counterpart, my thought partner, my foil, and sometimes my adversary in decision making, but all of it with this sense of place, with this sense of where we are working matters. Responsiveness, attentiveness. It felt like the project was as much his as it was ours. That sense of ownership and of pride and dedication to the work came through at every turn.
He's done so much for the city of New York, and he's so knowledgeable. He has wonderful ideas. And at the Frick, of course, he was the architect of record. He certainly should be honored just for the Frick, but for all of the things he's done for New York.
He is very much a mentor to those people around him. He's not afraid to teach what he knows, but he does it in such a way that you don't even know he's doing it. And so he's been extraordinarily helpful both to the Parks Department and to the Historic House Trust.
I've really enjoyed my years in the Historic House Trust. I'm really glad to utilize some of my technical experience I picked up over the years. But in a way, that's almost the easiest part. What I've particularly enjoyed is the creative or philosophical part of preservation that is not the how, but the why and the what.